Hey, T-Bone, I need to throw a switch here so I can run you through our board and whatnot. And then Patty Butler Spiers is going to be doing the interview herself. You know how the board works. If you're having a hard time hearing her, just let her know and I'll pot her up a little bit for you. Hang on one second. All right. Here you go, Patty. Have him talk for a second. You should be able to hear him. Tell him to talk at the level he's going to be talking at.
Hi, Mr. Burnett. Hello.
Hey, Neil, may I have some
T-Bone.
more water, please?
Okay.
He's actually asking for water.
Hang on one second, T-Bone. Let me. I'm going to throw a switch and have you talk. You should be able to hear Patty, but I'm going to have you talk for just a little bit so we can get a level here.
What'd you say? Hello.
Hi. Hi, Mr. Burnett. Can you hear us? He can't. He's not saying anything. Hello?
I've known Kathleen.
Let's do it this way then.
Okay.
Oh.
Huh?
Say something, Tom.
Yeah, I do too.
Say something.
I can hear somebody else. Hello? Mm-mm.
T-Bone, we're having a problem with this microphone, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do this by throwing a switch. And Patty will go ahead and ask you the question, and then I'll throw this switch. And if you can just delay from the time she asks you the question. We would all, it allows our brains to kick in a little bit more. I'm going to give you Patty, and she'll just give me a tap when it's time for you to answer the question. I'll go ahead and throw that switch, and we'll go from there. And I'll have you do a little bit of a sound check right off the bat. She can ask you about the weather or something like that, and that'll give me a chance to get a good level. You're a musician, so you know I know about that. I think I own one of your albums with Randy Meisner, who I know, Black Tie. Yeah, Randy's a great guy. Hang on, here's Patty.
Hi, Mr. Burnett. Hi. We really appreciate you going to the trouble to talk to us because we think your interview is extremely important to this. Actually, it's the story about James Carter and you all looking him up to acknowledge him in a public way and in a financial way. Yes. So, okay, are you ready? Okay. How did you know about Alan Lomax's prison song recordings?
Well, I was working with David Poe in New York at the Magic Shop recording studio, and the owner of that studio is a guy named Steve Rosenblum. I'm going to say two names. His name is Steve Rosenthal. No, that's not right. His name is Steve Rosenblum. Was remastering or mastering, I should say, all these 100 Alan Lomax records to re-release, and he played me that Poe Lazarus, and it stuck with me. This was about 7 or 8 years ago, probably, or 5 or 6 years ago, and I've remembered that. I remembered that for a long time. And then when we were starting the Coens movie, they were talking about starting with a chain gang. I played them that tune. Well, yes, the content of the song is epic and biblical and ancient and it's and American and modern. And it was the story of we remember the Lazarus story of him being raised from the dead. And it's a story of resurrection. In this case, it's a story of death. That there's this convict that's hunted down by the law, which was part of the story of Oh Brother. Well, that was purely the work of the people at the Anna Cheritakis and the people at the Lomax Foundation. I heard about it only a week or two before the Grammys. I had no idea James Carter was still alive. I thought he was I mean, when I heard the recording initially, I thought it was something from the mists of time. You know, I didn't connect it to the present day at all. So to hear that he was still alive was magnificent, and the fact that they went out and found him was so great, and a lesson to us all, something we all should pay close attention to. That sort of thing happens so infrequently in this age of larceny. I don't know who did. I invited him, and I think the Lomax Foundation funded it. I may have contributed. I offered to contribute, but I'm out of touch with that sort of thing. And we made arrangements for him to come and come to the awards ceremony and come backstage and be interviewed by the press, and then we had a party afterward that he and his family came to, and it was a wonderful thing. It's also, I must say, it's so much the warp and woof of this whole story that every one of us involved, Ralph Stanley and me and James Carter, all of us started off seeking this treasure many years ago, and there's that line in the film, "You will find the treasure, but it is not the treasure you seek." Well, I'm sure when James Carter recorded that song, he wasn't thinking of having a multi-platinum record in 2002, but here it is. Well, I have to say I was very enthusiastic about the album the whole time I was doing it. I've made other records that have been multi-platinum, and this seemed like at least as good as those. So I always did have high hopes that it would find a broad audience. And also, I have to say, I'm not a believer in the lowest common denominator. I think if that may have been true at some point in history, but at this time, people have access to so much information that I think the audience is getting much more refined than it's ever been. I mean, when I was a kid and found a Skip James record, it was like finding the Grail or something. It was one of a kind, and it was impossible to find, and you took it home and it was your secret private thing. Now you can go to Amazon.com. Yeah, now I'm doing plugs for them, Well, I might as well. They've certainly been good to us, but you can find all of these records. So, I believed that there was an audience. Yes, I believed there was an audience a broad audience out there for this record. No, I look at it as hip-hop music, from a different period, but basically serving the same function, as hip-hop, and also keeping it real the way hip-hop music does. Well, I'm so incredibly happy for those people, and James Carter is a lovely guy, and I hope this all does something for him and his family, something important. And I also hope that Alan Lomax begins to get some of the credit he deserves for putting this extraordinary treasury of music together.